Okay, it is 9:30 in the morning, and I wanted to talk about some of the worst set of updates Killer has been getting. Right now, in case you haven't noticed, healing speeds are going insane in the game. Like, we have 2 seconds heals due to a whole host of updates, changes, and them adding more and more healing perks. I'm making this video right after the first or the second Vecna, or whatever the hell you want to call him, the second Stranger Things chapter came out, where we got another perk that allows you to have a toolbox in game and change it to a medkit. And this is after a whole host of a ton of changes in game that have caused issues with killers as it is. So back in 7.6.0, they decided to change hemorrhage and mangled to have a timer on pretty much all sources. Every add-on, every perk, sloppy butcher, it got fucking butchered, let's be honest. This update was a horrible idea. I think they should have done it to specific things, like, if you want to do it to the nurse add-ons, that's one thing, but doing it to sloppy butcher affects the M1 killers. You're now nerfing the worst killers in the game just cuz. Now, this change is still in effect currently. Every single add-on they come out with that has any hemorrhage or mangled is a timer. Every single one that is still. This update here that added timers to them became even worse in the 8.5.0 update, when they decided to buff Vigil to 40%. They doubled its range, and eventually they did make it where they can't stack with each other. But even just one Vigil, 40%. Sloppy Butcher, how much is Sloppy Butcher? Okay, so Sloppy Butcher right now is 90 seconds. Vigil removes 40% of that. That's 90 seconds, that's 54 seconds? They bring it down from 90 seconds to 54 seconds. Less than a minute of hemorrhage and mangled from being hit from a basic attack. This primarily affects M1 killers, the already worst killers in the game. So we have an update that made them worse because it made one of the only good perks to counter healing way worse, and then also made a direct counter to it stronger. If they didn't add the timers, the Vigil update wouldn't have had an effect on it, but they decided to do that still. It only gets worse from there. See, if you were going against a lot of medkits, a lot of toolboxes, you still had like Franklin's Demise to use a basic attack to drop it. It would lose charges. And even one remove charge off a medkit is one less heal. So it would go from 1 to 2 heals to 0 to 1 heals. That's really good. Again, though, it only works on basic attack. So therefore, basic attack killers primarily get the effect of it. The killers that need it. Then, in 9.1.0, they nerfed Franklin's. They did increase its aura reading by twice the range, which never really mattered because you don't get any type of audio or visual effect when Survivor picks it up. You can see it's there and you can see that it's gone. Congrats. You don't know how long it was gone. You don't know how long it's been there. And the aura reading's only on items dropped from it, so you can't even see items that are just on the ground usually with it. But they removed the fact that it removes charges. That was fucking stupid. The same update was the one that introduced fog vials. It introduced fog vials, and I think it's the same one that reworked keys. So a lot of people automatically theorize it's because the new charge system for survivors, they now have an item with infinite charges and an item that uses a number of charges. Well, actually 2, because maps also. But I don't think Behavior ever said this. It's not in the patches from what I can see. But it also doesn't make sense because it's the same update where Streetwise got a rework dealing to do with percentages. 60, 70, 80% charges. Why would they rework a perk that works on a percentage of charges right after nerfing a perk from doing a rework of charges because it would cause an issue? That makes no fucking sense. Not only that, but in 9.1.2, they then changed fog vials to have 2 charges. The Franklin's change never got reverted, so now medkits in toolboxes are insane right now because if you're running Franklin's Demise, you make Star drop an item, doesn't matter. They'll just go back and pick it up. There's no downside to them doing it except a little bit of having to run back to where they were. Chances are you hit them near a generator anyways, or if they're injured, they're just going to pick it up and heal. There's pretty much no downside to Franklin's Demise. It is a wasted perk slot because the survivor will just go back and pick their item up. And then the mangled update has also never been reverted. So now we have a situation going on right now where survivors are having insane heal speeds with no direct counter. And M1 killers are suffering the most. We're seeing healing that's a healing meta as bad as when Circle of Healing was one of the best perks in the game. That's how bad. In my opinion, I think the best way to do this is revert the nerf to Franklin's. Fucking revert the 64 meters. It doesn't matter. They could remove that aura reading for all I give a shit, in all honesty. That doesn't matter. Bring back the fact they can remove charges. And if they have an issue with the new items, make it so on those one it removes like one charge every X amount of time. Sloppy, just make it so the stronger killers, those add-ons and stuff, have timers. But things like Sloppy Butcher and the add-ons for the weaker killers don't have timers. I think the fix is quite simple. I still am so confused as to why they would nerf every type of mangled and hemorrhage to a timer, then buff a perk that directly reduces that, and then nerf the one thing that counters the medkits and toolboxes, and then make healing insanely powerful. It makes no sense. I think we've had a total of one update to healing, one nerf to healing being a nerf to the two strongest medkit add-ons since then. Congrats, survivors can't what people call auto heal or gain endurance on command anymore. But they're healing in a few seconds in pretty much every single match quite consistently because of how bad these updates have been with pretty much no counter. And right now, I think these updates are affecting the weakest killers the most. Can we go back and nerf survivor healing and rebuff Franklin's, please? Give at least a small counter to these things.